The Edge of Fate is almost here, so I wanted to cover the builds that you will want to have ready for when the expansion releases. I've covered the Titan and Warlocks builds that I think are going to be crazy, so it's time to wrap it up by discussing the Hunter builds that might dominate in the Edge of Fate. As I've done for the last two videos, I've crafted these builds so that you can take full advantage of the new artifact mods and armor system reworks, while also having fun builds to tackle most content in the new expansion. So as always, I'm SniperKH, and let's check out these 3 Hunter builds. We're going to open with Solar Hunter. As I've mentioned in the previous 2 videos, Solar, Stasis, and Strand will be the 3 subclasses that will receive artifact mods to boost their power. So I wanted to come up with a build to maximize these mods, and I figured we'd pull out a classic. Today, I wanted to highlight the Young Ahamkara Spine build. This build was brought back to life with the release of Episode Revenant, and with its revival, it's going to see some bonus power given to it with the new artifact mods and armor reworks. For the subclass layout, you'll want to copy the one on screen. The idea with this subclass layout is that you'll want to use your trip mine grenades as often as possible, while using your proximity throwing knife as a way of getting your grenades back faster. Additionally, thanks to the number of ability defeats we'll be getting, we'll be building Gunpowder Gamble fast, allowing us to have multiple abilities at our disposal. For exotic armor, as the build name suggests, you'll want to run Young Ahamkara's Spine for exotic gauntlets, as this will grant you bonus trip mine energy with ability damage, while also improving your trip mine grenades. For exotic weapons to use, Sunshot is a great option, but if you would rather a different solar weapon to use, then Hierarchy of Needs might be worth giving a try, as the Destiny 2 Team Twitter account has teased an upcoming buff to the weapon. For armor stats to focus, you do have some choices. My personal recommendation would be Weapons and Grenade, as focusing the weapon armor stat will grant you a damage bonus towards your weapons when you have 200 stat points focused into that stat, and Grenade will grant you a bonus to grenade regeneration and damage with 200 stat points invested. That being said, you could also consider Weapon and Class to shorten the cooldown on your Gambler's Dodge if you'd fancy that. For artifact mods to use, I'd recommend Flame, Fiber, and Freeze to combine Solar, Stasis, and Strand siphons into one mod. Fever and Chill for the easy Radiant proc, Elemental Benevolence for the bonus class ability energy when giving allies an elemental buff, Shoulder to Shoulder for the bonus damage resistance for sustained precision damage while nearby allies, Elemental Coalescence for the free fire sprites, Radiant Shrapnel to spawn in solar projectiles on solar kills while radiant, and Elemental Overdrive for bonus weapon damage when picking up a fire sprite. For the second build I wanted to cover today, we're going to head on over to Stasis. For this build, I wanted to highlight a Stasis Hunter build that is incredibly fun to use, and that could also have some serious impact in in-game content, which is the Mask of Fealty build. This was a build we were given during Episode Revenant that ended up being really fun, so I thought I'd highlight it once again for the Edge of Fate. For the subclass layout, you'll want to copy the layout you see on screen. The idea behind this layout is that we want to generate as many stasis shards as possible, as that'll grant us frost armor and melee energy, allowing for this build to flow much smoother. For the exotic, we'll be using Mask of Fealty to enhance our Withering Blades melee, and to grant us bonus melee energy. For the exotic weapon, I'd recommend Wicked Implement as it has great synergy with this build. Besides this weapon being stasis, the secondary perk Tithing Harvest will grant bonus stasis shards for you from destroying stasis crystals and from rapid precision final blows with this weapon, which will help you generate bonus melee energy in case you run out of melee charges and don't have enough stasis shards or orbs of power to get your melee back. For what armor stats to focus, I highly recommend focusing weapon and melee. Focusing the weapon armor stat will grant us bonus weapon damage if we have 200 points invested into the stat, while the melee stat will grant us faster melee regeneration and bonus melee damage at 200 points invested. For the artifact mods, I'd recommend Flame, Fiber, and Freeze, Fever and Chill for free frost armor, Elemental Benevolence for bonus class ability energy, Frost Renewal for the free frost armor to you and your allies when your critical health, Shoulder to Shoulder for the bonus damage resistance, Elemental Coalescence for the free stasis shards, Shield Crush for the bonus melee regeneration and damage when we have frost armor active, and Frigid Glare for an extra way of freezing targets. That brings us to the final build in today's video, which will be aimed at Strand Hunters. While Strand Hunter has been a rather quiet subclass when it comes down to its viability in the meta, we're getting a new Hunter exotic in the Edge of Fate that should hopefully change that. For starters, you'll want to copy the subclass layout on screen. The idea of this subclass layout is that we want to generate as much melee ability as possible and keep our suspend uptime as high as possible. For the exotic we'll be pairing with this build, I chose to pair it with the Morai Exotic Hunter chest piece, which allows our Threaded Spike melee to bounce between tangles, which will detonate them, causing our Threaded Spike to return to us immediately. Additionally, tangles that are detonated by our melee are then rewoven and brought back to us, and if our melee does not attach or catch a tangle, we'll get bonus melee energy in return. Thanks to this exotic's functionality, we'll see crazy synergy between it and the whirling maelstrom aspect, which turns our tangles into Beyblade-like projectiles that will damage and unravel enemies. For the exotic weapons to pair with this build, there are a few options that you could go with. If you want to have Strand weapons to pair with this build to maximize the effects of Strand, then Final Warning or Borrowed Dyad will do you wonders. Otherwise, Sunshot will be a safe pick for this build. For armor mods to focus, once again weapon and melee will be the go-to picks, as having 200 stat points into the weapon stat grants us bonus weapon damage, and having points invested into the melee stat will grant us bonus melee regeneration and melee damage with 200 points invested. In terms of what artifact mods to use, I'd highly recommend Flame, Fiber, and Freeze. Additionally, Tightly Woven will be nice to have, alongside Fever and Chill if you're using Sunshot with this build. If you're not using Sunshot with this build and are instead opting to run Final Warning, then Reciprocal Draw will be nice for the bonus sidearm damage. Refresh Threads will be nice regardless though for the bonus ability energy when picking up a tangle. Additionally, Threaded Blast will be useful for the enhanced tangles, Shoulder to Shoulder for the bonus damage resistance, Elemental Coalescence for the free tangles, Shield Crush for the improved melees with Woven Mail active, and Tangled Web for an easy way to suspend targets. Well, that'll wrap up today's video. If you found it helpful, a like rating would be greatly appreciated, and consider subscribing to the channel for more Destiny 2 content dropping weekly. If you haven't yet, consider checking out the Titan and Warlock editions of this video to see what builds will be best for those two classes. The links to both videos will be found in the description below. Otherwise, check out my other social media platforms, including my Twitch, where I've been streaming more consistently in the afternoon time, as I'd love to see you all there, or my other pages for updates on when more of my content releases. With that being said, I'm SniperKH, and I'm out. Good luck with gaming.